gonna join me in the video, Chi-Chi? Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Hi everybody, I am Dutchess. This is my channel, Dutchess Divinity, and we do lots of stuff here, usually tarot readings or other spiritual things. But today we're going to have a serious conversation about domestic violence, and just some words I want to talk about it. That doesn't even make sense. Can you tell I'm a little nervous? This is a topic that I think makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was trapped in an incredibly abusive relationship for almost 3 years, and everyone in my life thought that he was going to kill me. So I have some authority to speak on it from my own personal experience, and I have unfortunately had 3 women in my life confide in me over the last couple of weeks about their partners being physically abusive with them, and I also had a client confide in me as well. And so today I've made some notes. Cornica's gonna help us, and we're gonna go over my notes and what I have to say about it. So yeah. Alright. So I want to talk about all the different types of abuse first. There is emotional abuse, there is physical abuse, obviously, there is financial abuse, there is spiritual abuse. So examples of financial abuse would be my ex would steal my card out of my wallet, and then he'd go buy alcohol and cigarettes, and then when I would find it in my bank statements, he'd be like, oh, well, it's just $5 here, $20 here, this or that. So it's like diminishing responsibility and trying to act like it's not a big deal when it is a big deal. Like, you literally stole my card out of my wallet, stole my hard-earned money, and now you're trying to act like it doesn't fucking matter. It does matter, okay? So that's an example of financial abuse. Also, like, every time he'd buy me anything, anytime we got in a fight, which was all day long every day, he'd be like, well, I bought you that $12 planter. And then it's like he would hold it over my head for the rest of time because he spent $15 fucking on me. So there's that. Incredibly controlling. Like, he wouldn't even let me salt my food. I would have to get up to go pee, and he would like hold me down until I was like screaming, so I thought I was gonna pee myself. Constantly restricting my movement. So even when he wasn't being like incredibly physically abusive, like, there was a time he tried to kidnap me. I should do a story time on it, where he like choked me out and stuff. By the way, 80% of women whose partners put their hands above the shoulders, like from the neck up, end up eventually being murdered by that partner, especially if it's a female and a male, because I don't care what anyone says, a man is always going to be biologically stronger and bigger than a woman. And that's why I feel very frustrated with the whole trust the science only when it's convenient for certain lawmakers and things. And I feel very frustrated that a lot of the lies we're experiencing today are just an attack on women. And I'm not even going to get into that because that's not what this video is about. But like, there are so many lies prevalent in society today that affect and hurt women. And to my core, I just believe that society fucking hates women. And I'm here to tell you that I love you and I care about you, whether you're a man or a woman. If you're a decent person and you're being abused, I care about you, but I'm especially here to show some support and create a safe space for women, because so many safe spaces for women have been infiltrated and destroyed over the last several years. So there is gaslighting, so it's like saying something to your face and then like immediately saying like, I never said that. Like, he'd say stuff, all crazy shit to my face, and I'd be like, I cannot believe you just called me like a whore and told me to go get out on the corner and prostitute myself. And he'd be like, I never said that, even though he literally said it like 1 second before. Like, my ex was an absolute psycho and sociopath. I don't even know. He was like a different breed, and I don't even know what he was, because sometimes his eyes would turn like full black and he didn't even look human, to be honest. But So I'm just giving these examples. So like obviously my examples are an extreme example, but maybe you're going through that in like a smaller magnitude, or maybe you're going through that in a bigger magnitude or equal magnitude, and it's important that you recognize the signs so that you can see that there's even a problem to get out of, because the problem with abusive relationships is they keep you so fucking confused that you don't know what is up and what is down. You've lost who you are, you don't know what's going on, and they keep you incredibly isolated. You might notice that you've lost a lot of friends and family since being with this person because other people don't want to be around them, or they don't want you around people who actually love you. Neglect is also another form of abuse. So I was heavily neglected as a child, like not having my basic needs met. But also like neglect can be like, you know, when you're constantly trying to have a conversation with your partner about your own emotional, physical, or mental, whatever needs, and they constantly diminish your needs and act like theirs are the only ones that are important and that you're being dramatic. Like, there is low levels of abuse, too. There's high levels of abuse and there's low levels of abuse. And for so much of my life, I was living and understanding this lie that we're told societally that, like, if you've never been to war, you can't have PTSD. And abuse is only when the police get called and you get your ass beat. No. It's one of the biggest lies. And then there's also the idea of controlled opposition around the fact that now narcissists and abusers have gotten a hold of this language and are using it against us. So, like, I'm on a dating app right now, and this man was pressuring me to tell him my sexual preferences and asking me if I'm kinky and this and that, and I was like, I told him multiple times, like, no, I'm not talking to you about this. And finally I was like, fucking unfriend me, unmatch me, like, we're not talking about this, and you're being really weird and pushy. And he was like, major gaslighting vibes. You're gaslighting me. What is this, middle school? We're adults. We can talk about this. It was the most narcissistic, rude, uncomfortable, predatory, pushy response you could ever have to somebody to a woman telling you, you're making me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about sex. Like, and it turned my stomach from like my head to my toes, because I'm like, now these terms are in the hands of the abusers. And my abuser used to say that all the time. He'd be like, you're abusive, you're this, you're that. He'd say all these things about me that he was just projecting. So those are just some different types of abuse. I'm sure there's a lot of literature you can look up to find out other types, but like, I don't know. I don't trust anything anymore. The only thing I trust is my personal experiences, because everything's a lie nowadays. Everything is completely controlled. Everything is censored. Like, the fact that I'm using words that I'm technically not supposed to be using, but these words apply to me, my life, and other people's lives is so disgusting to me that, like, these platforms find a way to demonetize or take away from, you know, the algorithm, or try to hide this kind of information from the public. It's a really ugly time to be alive, and that's why I'm here doing my due diligence, sharing parts of my story so that I can fucking inspire you to know that there's something better than whatever the fuck you're dealing with right now as far as domestic violence goes. Now, the second point I want to make is you owe them nothing, and you owe yourself everything, okay? Stop cleaning up their messes. If you let them, you give them an inch, they take 100,000 miles, okay? Excuse me, I just had some mac and cheese. I had to fill up on some mac and cheesels before such a heavy video, okay? But anyway, so, yeah, you owe them nothing. They might be like, oh, we've dated for 4 years, you're just gonna throw it away. Yeah, 4 years of shit, at least you're predictable. At least you've never changed the whole time. At least you're consistent, and it's been consistent shit, okay? And let me ask you, if you look back and say, oh, 4 years wasted, 5 years wasted, 6 years wasted, how are you going to feel when you look back 12 years down the line and think, oh my God, I have wasted another 6 years with this person? Get out now before you're looking back on the other end and, you know, you've lost some of the best parts of your life to the worst person you could ever sacrifice that to. And stop cleaning up their messes. Stop making excuses for them. They make a mess, you don't fucking clean it up. They break your shit, I'm sorry, motherfucker, you clean up the broken glass. You know, they ruin something in their life, they ruin a friendship, they ruin a job. Like, stop cleaning up their messes. The more you be their mom and clean up their messes, the more they're going to take advantage of you and do the same thing over and over and over again. And they are not your responsibility. They have created this brainwashing within you that says that you have some sort of responsibility over them. You don't. You absolutely do not. Okay? Okay. Also, their actions are their own responsibility. My ex, whenever we'd get in a fight, would be like, well, I'm gonna go do heroin now because of you. And I'd be like, that's not because of me. You're going to go do a drug because you want to go do that drug. You are using me and your emotional response to the problem you caused between the two of us as an excuse to do your drugs. So, that is not on me, that is on you. This motherfucker told me one time, called me, I was just in the hospital because I drank bleach because of you. So then I'm calling the hospital because I've been in and out of the psych wards. I've been, I've wanted to end my life plenty of times in my life. So I know that if you do something like that, you automatically get admitted. So I'm on the phone, why'd you let him go? Why'd you let him go? I had to pretend to be his wife and everything, so they wouldn't give me any information. And they were like, oh, he's lying to you. He overdosed on heroin. So it was like he would like do these things and then find a way to like shove it up my ass and blame me for it. If someone tells you, I'm gonna unalive myself if you break up with me. If they fucking do, first of all, the first thing I'm gonna say is most of these people are so fucking self-obsessed, self-absorbed, and narcissistic that they would never, because they're too self-obsessed. But God forbid they did do something to hurt themselves or others or take their own life. You know whose fault it's not? Yours. It's their own actions. They're an adult making their own choices, having their own actions, and that has nothing to do with you. That is the biggest manipulative thing that they love to throw out, and usually the people they're abusing are already feeling that way, feeling like they don't want to be alive. So they throw that out to hit your empathy nerve. They're trying to hit your lowest nerve, like your last nerve. Because when you feel that way, it's a trip, man, to feel so like SUICIDAL. I can't even say the words on this platform. Like, that's crazy to me. It's one of the biggest epidemics, and I'm not even allowed to say the word. Why? In America? I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with the state of the world. But anyway, the state of the world is the way it is because we're in a narcissistic and abusive relationship with the world leaders, period. That's why they don't want us having power in these words or having these kind of discussions, because the more people wake up to it in their own personal life and with people in their life, the more they'll realize that the systems are exactly that. For all people. I don't care who you are, if you're alive, you have some sort of plight or trouble. You know? So, most of these people feel that way. Oh, what I was saying is when you feel that way, it's an indescribable feeling. The only way I can describe it is feeling closer to death than life. And when you're a living creature that feels closer to death than life, there's no one that can really pull you out of that. There's nothing that can pull you out of that. You have to pull yourself out of that. And it is a dark, horrific feeling. Probably one of the darkest feelings you can feel as a human, to not want to be alive. And so a lot of these victims feel that way because their abusers have a part in making them feel that way. So then they take advantage of that empathy you have surrounding that feeling and throw it in your face like, I'm gonna do it. And it's like, no, you're fucking not. You're trying to bait me into coming back, okay? My ex would also just break into my house. There'd be restraining orders on him, protective orders. I'd just walk in, he'd be on my couch. I'd break up with him, he'd show up drunk or high on God knows what, be falling down flights of stairs, waking up my neighbors, and the police would be like, just let him sober up. Just let him inside, let him sober up. Like, I would say of the 20 times I had to call the police, I would say at least 20 times I had one positive experience. One. So it is not lost on me that system is very fucking broken. And like I said, it's for all people, not just certain groups of people. It's another thing. Divide and conquer. Make one group of people's problems seem way, way worse than everyone else's. So now you're fucking fighting because you're like, well, my problems hurt too. And they're like, well, ours are worse. You're like, no, mine are worse. It's like, no, shut up. Trauma and pain is a spectrum. And nobody's, like, I understand there are certain certain life situations that are worse than others. But, like, to completely diminish other people's pain and suffering simply because they're not of the group of people that you're from, of the race that you're from. Something just fell down. Some spirits just went wild in my kitchen. Something just went flying. I wonder what that was. But to diminish other people's pain and suffering simply because they're not just like you is one of the worst divide and conquer tactics that they've instilled since 2020. So yeah, what I'm getting at with that is, like, their actions are not your responsibility. They're an adult and it's on them. And all they're trying to do is trick you into triggering your empathy around actual pain that you have or actual suffering that you have that they know you will respond to when you have your boundaries up. Also, physical abuse is literally illegal. And like I said, there were plenty of times I called the police and didn't get help. But there was that one time, and you know what, that one time, that was the last time I ever had to call. Because I actually got some good help from some good officers. So at this point, I used to live in, like, a really poor area, and out there, they're like, cops don't come around here, you're a snitch. Well, guess what, bitch? Beep, boop, beep, 911, what's your emergency? I'm out here calling 911 whenever I fucking need it. Not frivolously. I'm not abusing it. And luckily, thankfully, I don't need it anymore. Unless I see, like, a car accident or someone in need, I don't have to call 911. That's my point of this video. If you leave, none of this has to be your problem anymore. Everything I'm telling you is not my problem on a small scale. It's my problem on a governmental and global scale. It is not my problem in my personal life because I've removed myself from any and all abusers, you know? So don't be afraid to call 911. Don't be afraid to call the police. Like I said, it is not... I know that it's not the best option, but also don't let their brainwashing keep you from doing it. Don't be afraid to pursue legal action. That's another fucking broken system, but still. It's usually enough to scare someone away. So yeah, it's fucking illegal. Society as a whole frowns upon it and does not support it. A lot of people get worked up by it, thinking about a man hitting a woman or any kind of partner-to-partner domestic violence. It's a lot of people, it works people up. It's not acceptable in society. And never is it your fault. Oh, I can see why, like, I felt like I had to hit you. I felt like I had to because of your actions. I had to punch you so you would calm down. I had to throw you and lock you in that room so that you would calm down. I had to kidnap you briefly because of this. It all sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? To the LDs. The old LDs of 2020. You have to do this because it's for your own good when it's actually for no one's good except for the global leaders and the lining of their pockets. You never deserve to get hit. You never deserve any kind of abuse. Abuse is not acceptable in any way, and you never did or said anything to make that situation happen to you. Okay? It is never okay to abuse people. No matter what they're saying or doing or how emotional they're getting or the way they're standing up for themselves, it is never okay. It's just not. If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your loved ones. If you don't respect yourself enough not to get abused, if you're so brainwashed that you feel like you're unlovable and like you deserve it, if you can't do it for you, do it for the people you love, because they'll be really fucking sad if you're murdered by some douchebag fuckboy. Like, here lies so-and-so, they were murdered by a fucking asshole. Like, are you kidding? Your story is way more fucking important than that. Your life is way more important than that. You got way more to do. Way more to do than get murdered by a fugly fuckboy. Or get your ass beat by a fugly fuckboy that never fucking grew up. That never learned how to love. There's way more to your story. And you know what? Usually the victims are very kind, giving, gentle souls. The world needs your kindness. The world needs your gentleness. Don't give it up for some fugly loser that'll never be more than a fucking woman beater loser. That's it. Here's the other one. A lot of you are spiritual probably watching this. I know there's probably some people who don't usually watch me, but most of you are going to be spiritual because that's what I do here. I don't give a fuck if you think it's your twin flame. I really don't. I don't give a fuck if you think it's your soulmate. I don't give a fuck who you think this person is. It could be like fucking Elvis Presley reincarnated. I don't give a fuck. The moment they start abusing you, it doesn't matter who they are to you, what they've been to you, or what they are in this life. They could be the most amazing, charming millionaire on the surface, and they're a fucking woman beater on the inside. I don't care. You gotta go. You gotta get out. Because it will only get worse. The more you tolerate that behavior, the worse and worse and worse it will get. I don't care if you think it's your twin, your soulmate, if it seems like the best opportunity ever, the moment somebody starts abusing you, get the fuck out. Before it's too late. Before you're murdered by a fugly fuckboy. I might sound insensitive, but just like I said, know that I lived in hell for 3 years and I had to get harsh with myself. I had to get hard with myself. And I had to become the masculine. I'm a feminine, I'm a woman. I'm a proud woman. And I had to become the masculine in my life, and I had to pull myself out of the depths. I had to fucking save myself, because there was not a fucking single person out there who was gonna do it for me. Including family. So if I sound harsh, it's because that masculine energy is coming out that had to pull me out of that. I don't love you any less. I'm just passionate, angry, and disgusted with the state of the world. If things LD, if things LOCKDOWN, would you survive? Would you survive? Would you want to be locked in a home with this person? Would it be safe for you? Would your home be safe? Would your pets be safe? Would your kids be safe? Would your stuff be safe? Would your money be safe? Would your faith be safe? Would your mind be safe? Would your body be safe? Would you be safe? And do you really want to go into an LD situation? Locked in with someone who fucking abuses you? I don't think so. The last LD, offing yourself, I don't want to say it like that, but I have to for censorship reasons. It went up something like 400%. Domestic violence went up also like 300%. And MOLESTATION went up also like 400%. I'm sorry if I don't spell right. I'm not a good speller. I'm a spellcaster. I'm a witch, but I don't fucking spell. I've never been good at it. I got all check pluses when I was a kid, where you get report cards and you get the check plus, check minus. I got all check pluses, and in spelling I only got a check, okay? Don't judge my spelling, please. Okay. Codependency is pushed through entertainment and the current global events. So, a lot of movies, a lot of entertainment of today really romanticize toxic relationships. Codependency is heavily pushed on us through social media as well as other entertainment forms. It was pushed on us through the global narrative of we're at MASK. It's not for you, it's for others. Even if it's bad for you, even if you don't like it, even if it makes you hurt in some way, well, that doesn't matter because you need to do it for other people, and if you don't, you're not virtuous, and I have a right to hate you and call you names and push you. And like, when in history has it ever been okay to like physically assault people, verbally assault people, put your hands on people, all in the name of righteousness and truth? Like, that shit is so backwards. So fucking backwards, and it's the global narrative that's being pushed. Get V'd! Get the V. It's not for you, it's for others. Oh wait, all the scholarly evidence came out to prove that that's horseshit. That none of that was real. That was not correct. But they sure did a lot of shaming, blaming, and forcing, blackmailing, stealing people's jobs, stealing people's livelihoods, trying to take away their kids, didn't they? That's why I'm saying we are in a narcissistic and abusive relationship with global leaders. Period. End of story. It is what it is. You either see it or you don't, and I'm praying that humanity wakes up to it sooner rather than later. So there's a global narrative being pushed around codependency and being pushed around like your needs don't matter. You have to, like, fuck your feelings. Everyone else's feelings matter more. Fuck you. If you are this, or this, if you're this race, if you're this sexuality, if you're this, and I don't care. It's in every spectrum. Like, I don't care if you are black, white, fucking purple, pink, straight, gay, queer. I don't care, dude. There is one group of people that thinks that is like hating you, and then you're hating that group, and it's like, God, the divide and conquer has gone off the charts, okay? And we're taught to hate ourselves. No matter what group of people you are taught to self-loathe, okay? You're the only person who can have your own back. You have to take responsibility for yourself back. You have to do what's best for you. Just like, oh, if you leave, I'm gonna off myself. Okay. Well, if I don't leave, I'm gonna off myself, so I choose me. Oh, you're not wearing an MASK. Okay, well, that's because I have severe trauma around literally being suffocated, and the last time I put one on, I went into a full-blown panic attack and puked on myself. I'm not doing that when I'm going to get my groceries. It's not about you, it's about me. And that shouldn't be selfish. It shouldn't be selfish to do what's best for you. Because what other people want you to do is hurting you. You know, like, it's not selfish to say, no, that doesn't work for me because it causes me pain or suffering. That's not selfish. That's self-love. It's been so twisted and skewed to fit whatever fucking god-awful, upside-down, fucking topsy-turvy narrative we're dealing with today. I'm hearing in my head the topsy-turvy. What is that from? I can't remember. Okay, and then a lot of this, if you do believe in past lives, if you do believe in spirituality, so much of this stems back from the times when it was like torture the body to save the soul. If you're familiar with my work and my videos, I talk often about how religion is just another form of government and that it was the first form of government before we had actual government. So much of this comes from the time when it was like torture the body to save the soul. And that was pre-Protestant Reformation. I took a whole class on it. I took a whole class on it in college. Not that I'm some, like, expert on it, but I have some knowledge on it. People used to wear fucking nail shirts because they thought you had to be as miserable as possible to get into heaven. So they would torture the body to save the soul. They would wear inside-out horse shirts, so they would skin a horse, put the hair on the inside because it's really scratchy, and they'd get all scratched up, and then they would like sew it onto themselves, and then the flies would come to eat the, like, carcass, and then they'd come and, like, lay eggs in your wounds and shit, and they were like, yes, you are so Christ-like. Oh, when those flies lay their larvae under your skin, oh, you're going to heaven. It was all controlled opposition. On what planet? On what planet did Jesus say, cut yourself up and put the larvae under your skin? That sounds like a demon to me. That doesn't sound like the Savior Christ. Like, this shit's so backwards. It's all been infiltrated. Nothing is real. Everything's a lie. He would never, if Jesus is who they say he was, which probably not, but if he is this all-loving, unconditionally loving entity, why the fuck would he say, torture yourself? Yes, do it. Cut yourself up and let the bugs crawl under your skin. Yes, then you'll get into heaven. That sounds like hell. It doesn't sound like heaven. So it's like that now. Be a martyr. Sacrifice. Do it for the greater good. Don't leave me. I'll off myself. Don't throw away 4 years. Be a martyr. Come on. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. No. If something's not working, you don't have to keep trying. Especially if it's hurting you. There is no need to torture the body to save the soul. This is on a global scale, and this is on a personal scale. Life is meant to be lived. We're called human beings. We're meant to just be. We're meant to be ourselves. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, just be. Enjoy. Have fun. We are not meant to work fucking 9 to 5 and then just fucking die after getting like 10 years of retirement. That's such a horse shit. Like I said, all the systems are in place. We're essentially a slave race. The human race is essentially a slave race that has been so utterly brainwashed, and they just kicked up the brainwashing in 2020 and took it off the deep end, and now it's like so many people think this is the way to live, and it's just not. You don't have to constantly sacrifice. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to torture the body to save the soul. You don't have to be in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to do things that make you uncomfortable. You don't have to. Your body, your choice. No matter what. Across all boards. If you are pro-choice, you're pro-choice. Not when it's convenient for certain situations and not for others. Freedom, end of story. Freedom, period. Freedom. I don't know why I'm doing this. Because it's just sucks. It's crazy. It's a crazy time to be alive. Alright. Now I'm going to tell you everything I've done that I never would have done if I stayed with my fugly fuckboy of an ex-abuser. So for one thing, my health drastically improved. Physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. Everything in my life improved. Everything. When I got that leech off my soul and off my body and off my money, everything in my life improved. I look fucking 10 years younger. I look younger now than I did with them. Because they suck the life out of you like a dementor. So I have a beautiful apartment. I have a car. At the time I had a car, got in a really bad car accident, couldn't afford to. Here's what we were doing. He had leached onto me. He had no job. I was paying for the apartment. I was working and also getting state assistance. I got in a terrible car accident where someone hit me head on and took no responsibility and had plenty of money and lawyers to basically just out money me, and so I got no help for that. So then it was like I was physically injured from my car accident and couldn't work. I had such a bad concussion. I was in bed for like months, and then I got my ass beat in group therapy trying to get some therapy for the situation, and some psycho heroin addict there fucking beat my ass up and down. And I know it sounds like I don't like heroin addicts. Guess what? I don't. Like, sorry, but I don't hate them anymore, but I sure as fuck don't want any of them around me, because all they have done was cause me misery and hurt in my life. And they've done nothing good for me. I've had plenty of them around because I used to live in the heroin capital of America, because that's a subsidized town near where I grew up, and it's the only place I could afford to live. Let me just tell you, poverty sees no background, poverty sees no race. If poverty wants to come for you, it will. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So, yep, we were living in that apartment. I got in the car accident, could no longer work, so I couldn't pay my rent, so I started to get evicted. Then I was like, I was homeless twice. I was homeless before I got the apartment. I got the apartment, he leached onto me. Then I lost the apartment because of said events, being injured and not being able to work. I'm a dancer. I danced for like 18 years or something crazy like that, competitive dancer. I was so injured from my car accident. I was like gaining weight. I was in physical pain all the time. They told me I'd never dance again, all this stuff. Well, my last time of being homeless, my parents finally let me back in their house and gave me a chance. I slowly worked to pay off a $2,000 car that their friend had sold me. They paid for it, and then I would Uber to work. I worked at a little farm, and then every day I'd come home, I'd give them all my money until I paid off the car. Then from there, I would drive to work until I had saved enough to get this apartment that I have today. I look around and I have so many beautiful things in my apartment. I have so many resources that I never had previously. I'm covered in tattoos. I had one tattoo. I had a tattoo of my grandmother, my guardian angel, who got me through that. And then I got these one after my car accident. Everybody wants me to do a tattoo body tour. I probably will eventually, but I got that little ankh. And I got this little sun. And these are the points in Reiki that help you reach your full potential. So I only had this and those two little things. I got this when I realized that I didn't want to die anymore. And I felt safe to cover that part of my body, that I wasn't going to do something horrible to maim that part of my body. So this is why I don't really do the tattoo tour, because it's very intimate. Like my tattoos, every single one of them has very intimate meaning. So yeah, I started working and then started getting tattoos, started making friends, and then I started my business. You would not be looking at me talking to you right now if I never left that loser. I would not have inspired you if I've ever inspired you in the past, or even if I'm inspiring you right now in this moment. This moment right now would not exist if I never left that loser. There's no way. I'd be dead. Plain and simple, I'd be dead. Whether it's because he killed me or I did it to myself, I wouldn't be here. I have 30,000 subscribers at this point. I have over 1,000 clients who I've worked with personally, who tell me how I change their life every single day. I have real friends now. I have restored my relationship with my family and we're closer than ever. I have a purpose. I have a reason to live. I've got my little Cornica, my cat. She endured all of that with me. She was there through all of that. She was traumatized by it too, you know? Yes, I have a fucking business. I have a business being a psychic and a witch and an influencer and a YouTuber where I am able to completely financially support myself through that business. I would never have had that. And it took a lot of hard work to get there. So much hard work. Like before I was YouTubing and doing this full time, I had multiple jobs. I was a pizza girl. I would have 3 jobs at a time. I was a pizza girl. I was a nanny, and then I'd come home, I'd do YouTube, and then I'd go to school as well, and I'd be trying to finish up my degree because I ended up failing out when I was having like all the mental health problems and couldn't afford it and everything. So it's like, I have so much now, but I worked so fucking hard to get there. Like, I'm not going to tell you that it's not hard. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't take hard work, because it does. But it's so rewarding, and once you get rid of that leech and you start walking more purposefully, like, and unapologetically in your truth and in who you truly are, it's so much easier for things to fall into alignment because you're no longer sacrificing all your needs for the good of someone else. I go on vacations now. I literally pay for solo vacations. I used to get $194 a month in food stamps and $290 for state assistance. I lived off of that, and I made those $194 go long between me and my ex. That was 2 people were living off of that. That's what? A little over $500 a month? Now, I go on full-blown fucking solo vacations and pay for everything myself. I have the power and the confidence to do that stuff myself. I hadn't been on a vacation in 11 years. I used to think going to the psych ward felt like a vacation compared to my life. Now I go on real vacations. Now I have real friends that don't just use me. They love me and they care about me. Like I said, I've restored a relationship with my family. I have this beautiful home with a nice backyard and my cat to show for myself. I don't need a lot. I have a great car. It's a great car I have out there. It's not perfect, it's not new, but I think it's wonderful. I'm glad to have something to get me from point A to point B. I have the freedom to do what I want with my body. When I go places and do things, there's nobody holding me back with their abuse. There's nobody holding me back with their bad attitude or trying to tell me you can't wear that, you can't eat that, you can't do that. I am free. I am fucking crazy, but I am free. For real! You saw 4111 when I said that. I'm free. That's the biggest thing. I'm free. I'm free. I have more than enough money for everything I need and pretty much everything I want because I'm a simple girl. I don't need much. I have a beautiful life, a beautiful home, and beautiful people in my life, a beautiful animal in my life, and a wonderful business that I'm really proud of. And wonderful people who have found me and joined me in this journey. This could be your story too, but you have to choose yourself first. All right? I'm going to leave a couple hotlines pinned in the comments and in the description, and if you want any services with me, if you want to get a reading, I make a lot of art. I literally sell my art now. People told me my whole life, you will never make money being an artist. Well, guess what, bitch? That's what I do now. I am a fucking artist. Am I the best artist? No. I'm just me. And because I'm being me, and I'm putting myself out there, and I'm putting myself into my art, people like me, and then they in turn like my art because it's a piece of me. So, yeah. I'll link everything, and thanks if you made it this far. Sorry if it was triggering, sorry if it was harsh, but I just feel these things need to be said, and I also feel like I have some sort of responsibility to say them because I'm on the other side of things, and I want people to know that it can and will get better if you put in the effort to choose yourself and leave. And like I said, I know it's easier said than done. My therapist one time said it's like a chain, and it's like you have to break each individual link on the chain. We'll start with the first link, guys. Start with the first link. I'll put 2 hotlines down in the description, and you can do it. I love you. I believe in you. I'm here for you. I have hundreds of free videos on here. Use my content to support you through this time. And one girl. I cannot be there for all thousands and thousands of you. But use the free content that I've provided you, or the paid for content that you've bought from me to support you during this time as you make the choice to live and be free and be you. Alright, I love you guys. Please take care of yourself and do what's best for you. Alright, bye-bye.